Firstly, thank you so much for everybody being here today. There are those of you who've travelled a long way. Some have come down from North Queensland, some have come from New South Wales, others have come from the Central Coast, some have come from the Mooloolaba coast of Queensland, some have come from inland. Some of us have come over from South Australia, and I think there was even somebody here from Tassie, I'm not sure. But thank you. Thank you so much. And this is a very, very, very special place. And we have just witnessed a ceremony to honour those who fought for this country, to keep it safe. They fought against the communists, the fascists. They fought against the people, the very people of the very ideals that we find ourselves facing again. Except this day it is not on a foreign shore. The people we have to fight that are the fascists and the communists sit in every high office in this country. They are not off waiting somewhere. They are here. And they are not enriching your life. They are not enriching your children's life. They are taking from this country everything that is sacred and solemn. And so, before it rains... Sorry? There is no better place to do this than on sacred land. Oh, absolutely. This is... Yeah, just listen and you'll be okay. Right? We are standing here today, as this gentleman rightly said, on sacred ground, on holy ground, on hallowed ground. And we stand here on this hallowed ground because of the sacrifice, as I said, that was made. And that sacrifice should not have gone in vain. That sacrifice should not be lightly thrown away. For the first time in my life, I have written a speech. And I hope to read it, that it makes sense to you, because I, as a 70-year-old man, born in this country, can no longer stand still and watch our democracy be taken from us, to watch our livelihood of our children be taken from us, to see the situation we find ourselves in. We've written millions of letters to Parliament, to ministers, to governments, to councils, to state governments, and not one paid any attention. We got literally no reply. Why? Clearly they don't care. A couple of million of you went to Canberra. They didn't listen. Why? Clearly they don't care. They came here on hallowed ground and fired rubber bullets at you. On holy ground. And why? Because they don't care. Let me please read my document. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tim Dwyer. I live in South Australia. I was born not far from here, about an hour, up at Daylesford. I grew up there for the first 20 years of my life and picked spuds and cut wood and did all that sort of stuff. So I am a natural-born Victorian, but I am, above all of that, I am an Australian. I am an Australian national, as you are. The Australian people's initiated referendum for the reformation of Australia. Today we gather at this most sacred site on this holy ground. We have stood in silent reverence to the incredible sacrifice made by our forebears, and believed in the ideals of liberty, freedom, and the concept of democracy. It is their blood, their hearts, their spirit that was spent in full measure, that we who are here today must not ever allow what they protected to be diminished, destroyed, or forgotten.
Absolutely.
Whereas the people, these are the initiating words in our lawful 1901 Constitution that is proclaimed and gazetted. It puts the people, you and I, at the top of the authority table within the lawful structure of this country, above the Crown, above the Parliament. We are each a single shareholder in the Commonwealth. As our Constitution is an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom, we therefore have, under the common law of the United Kingdom, every right known to mankind. Every right. They cannot be taken from you. You can, however, surrender them if you wish. I'm probably getting in front of my speech, actually. As the recent referendum has shown, between the people who voted no and the 3 million who did not vote at all, it is evident that about 80% of the adult population has just about had a guts full of the corporate government. I wish now to instill into you, the people of Australia, a revelation of what is possible and a path forward in hope to avoid at some future point a violent revolution. It is not what we want. We do not wish for that at all. Because of political and financial situations dating back into the 1940s and continuing foreign corporate political events over decades, that without the knowledge or the agreement of the people of Australia, through stealth, deception, fraud and many acts of treason, have put into positions of power a body that looks like government, sounds like government, but is in fact a corporate deep state control cartel, Liberal or Labor. You can't have anybody else. There is no choice. The illusion of choice is not choice. The United Nations, the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum and other life-sucking, soul-destroying parties are involved in this. The control organisations do not have your best interest in mind. These structures are being put into place to take ownership of your land away from you, to restrict your ability to travel in the future any more than 15 to 20 minutes from your home without a permit or perhaps fine. If digital currency is allowed, you will be restricted as to what you can spend your money on, and if you speak out against any aspect of the so-called government, what they're doing is your digital money will be turned off. Keep in mind, we have a ACMA bill, remember? Only the government can tell you what the truth is. You will not be allowed to speak your truth. You'll only be allowed to speak their truth. The WHO will determine what injections you must have, not your doctor. The WHO also have very explicit directions on the introduction of sexual activities into children younger than 5 years of age, and this is simply perverted and destructive to every child. But our current government thinks that this is okay and a good thing. I don't. We do have a lawful capacity to withdraw from this dystopian control system that is fast engulfing every man, woman and child in Australia. Every statute, act and law that is being wielded against us to instill fear into your heart and mind and to take money from you has no actual authority under the lawful 1901 Constitution, as proclaimed and gazetted. We must, as a people, unite as a Commonwealth nationals, not as Australian citizens. As a citizen, you belong to the very corporate body that is handing you over, and our country over, to the global oligarchs. They have insatiable greed and the most ungodly parasites who have ever walked the earth. However, enough of the bad. Think about this. Imagine, if you will, you're Australia, living with all rights known to man. So, let me explain something. 20 years ago, I went to a conference in Asia where we talked about international investments and taxation laws and all sorts of things. And one of the things that was put forward there by a man by the name of Paul Zane Pilzer, you can look him up if you like, he's a world-renowned economist. Pilzer said that if we had a 5% flat tax, 5% expenditure tax. So let's begin with that. If every business, corporation, man and woman only paid 5% and all other taxes were wiped out, abolished, no wages tax, no company tax, no GST, no petrol, alcohol, tobacco tax, and no yearly registration on your cars. A few of these changes This would raise trillions of dollars in tax revenue. At the moment, Australia raises $596 billion. Why? Because you pay tax, the corporates don't. BHP, the chicken, the energy people, the everybody, they pay no tax. You carry the burden, right? This way, everybody pays the tax, right? And so we would have more than enough to settle any and all international debts. Imagine a new People's Commonwealth Bank that charged no more than 1% interest on any loan. That is what is capable of doing if we were under our proper lawful constitution. Or you can stay with the tax system you've got now. No? Okay, all right. Imagine if our money was backed by mineral resources, gold, silver, iron ore, coal, copper, lead, lead, uranium, plus the value of the last 5 years' agricultural takes. Australia would have the lowest tax in the world, accompanied with the strongest currency. Would that suit you? Yes. Well, you could stay with the fiat system that we've got now. Your money's worthless, and it's getting worse. I'll take the first bit. I'll leave the fiat currency behind. Imagine what it would be like if all the minerals, gas and oil that were mined in Australia, there was a Commonwealth royalty paid on every tonne and every barrel. And as you hold a single share in the Commonwealth, you would be paid a dividend at the end of each year, tax-free. Would that suit you? Yes. Imagine taking back control of the entire energy grid from the global robber barons so as that your energy costs would drop by at least 75%. Would that suit you? Yes. Imagine if we introduced a water project that would supply enough water to irrigate northwest Queensland, northwest New South Wales, fill the Darling, fill the Murray, and build 9 new flood mitigation reservoirs through the eastern states that would protect people, their properties. It also enables better drought resistance and disallows water speculation and selling water on the exchange. Would that suit you? Yes. With low energy costs and low taxation, can you imagine the manufacturing that we could do in this, your Australia? The employment that can be created and the families that would benefit. Would that suit you? Yes. Can you imagine a system of government that protected the culture of Australia from culturally inappropriate migration? If we halted all migration for 8 years so as to improve our infrastructure and care of those who are homeless and in need, would that suit you? Yes. Can you imagine a system of governments that protected the culture of Australia? Oh, got that bit, sorry. However, moving right along, if we stay silent and if we fail to act in a bold and cohesive and brave manner, we will surely lose every right and freedom and custom that has been our way for over 200 years. Will you be the people who surrendered this nation to evil that is trying to enslave us, to impoverish us, to destroy our culture? Please do not fail our children. Please do not fail our pioneers. Please do not fail our Anzacs. But most of all, please do not fail yourself. You are the custodians here. Do not fail yourselves. To accomplish what needs to be done, it will take a massive grassroots, well-coordinated effort on the part of thousands of us. We will no doubt be harassed by what is called police and government and everybody in the media. Keep in mind, the police have sworn their oath to their sovereign lady, which again is not Her Majesty the Queen. That is the corporate lady, the Queen of Australia. Has no crown, has no authority. Now the policeman doesn't know that. He thinks he's done the right thing. If we fail, the result will be horrendous. Every Australian will pay a fee to walk on the beach, to camp at the river, to go bushwalking, to play sport on your own local oval. You will be under surveillance all day, every day. Your freedom will be a distant memory, spoken about only in hushed and whispered terms. Hushed. Can't talk freedom. That day is coming if we don't stand up. Imagine a health system that was not controlled by Big Pharma. Remember the root words pharmakia. And what that means is the creator of spells and potions. It's sorcery. You must understand where it comes from, so as you know the meanings of the words. Imagine the widespread use of medical cannabis. Imagine using the power of nature in a wellness system. Imagine education system that would be equal to Switzerland, which is the best in the world. We're currently 42nd. Imagine an education system that inspires imagination and creativity and not conformity. We need to educate our people, because socialism works exceptionally well in a poorly educated society. Democracy really only ever works in a highly educated society. We need re-educating. On the other hand, there are those in the global control system that have openly spoken about the fact that they not only have the capacity to take away your free will, but declare that is what they are working on and making it a reality. Imagine a system where only the people with certain attributes were allowed to have babies. I think they tried that in Europe back in the 40s, didn't they? Your free will is a gift from your Creator. It is not for any man or organisation to take from you. Your inalienable rights, your God-given rights, can never be taken from you. However, through fear, you can surrender them. You can surrender them. Many have. You haven't. It is my intention on this day to call for men and women here to make a solemn promise to themselves that you will not take one more step backwards, that you will guard your hearts and your minds with diligence to no longer be mere spectators, but with full measure enter the playing field where the action is, where you will be criticised and you may lose your friends and family may walk away from you, but your actions will speak on your behalf. This is where the sweat will live. This is where we all move as one. We are not all the same. We will go up the mountain in different streams, in different paths, but we will move as one up that mountain. Each inch of ground will be taken and it will be celebrated in silence. There is no glory to be found here. Do not come here looking for glory. Come here looking for freedom, because that's what we have to have. We must take back lawful control of our country, that the international debt that the corporate government has created is near $1.8 trillion. $1.8 trillion. And when you get home, figure out how many zeros that is. And counting at $100,000 increase every 20 seconds. That's a disaster. That is just a pure disaster. The system that created this whole mess has no capacity to find a remedy. That is why it falls on good and decent people like you and I to reform Australia, to move forward. A people's initiated referendum. Right? This is what I'm here today to announce, and I'm thankful that you're all here, but I would have stood here on my own and done it anyway. Why? Thank you, guys. This is the most solemn ground in the country. This is the King's Domain. This is holy ground. And from here, we celebrate the birth of a nation, really. And here, we will celebrate the birth of recreating our free nation. Not a new nation, recreating our nation as it should be. To unseat the unconstitutional corporate governments from office, to reinstate a lawfully elected Commonwealth Parliament in accordance with the 1901 Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act as proclaimed and gazetted, to ban all previous members of Parliament, state and federal, from ever sitting again in office. Withdraw Australia from the UN, the WHO and the WEF and pay the international debt. Our aim is to end foreign ownership of any infrastructure and food producing land. to disassemble all forms of corporate government, establish a national body of 15 men and women as custodians of the Constitution. Any law that any parliament wants to pass must go through the custodians, and if it is in breach of our Constitution, it must not move. It must be put down. We're going to need people to work as coordinators in each state. We need to raise a huge sum of money. We're going to need wealthy benefactors, to be honest. And you and I will need to do a whole lot of stuff. We're going to do letterboxes. We're going to do talkback radio. We're going to do all sorts of things. Now, what I've got is, I'm looking for my darling wife. I need somebody to help hand out some leaflets. Okay, Corinne's got them over the back, her and Ben and a couple of others. We're going to hand out these little leaflets. And what you're going to do on those leaflets is, it has our website and it has an email address. So I'm not asking you to come forward and give me your details. I don't want your details. I want you to come to us and say, Tim, I'm in this area. I'll do whatever you want. I'll letterbox drop. I can ring up the phones. I can do all of this sort of stuff. All right. So they're being handed out now. Right. Everybody's going to end up with one of those. And I need page 5. In short, this country needs you right now. The enemy is not on a foreign shore. Those who would destroy your way of life are in every aspect of public office, from your local council, your state government, the courts, including the High Court, right? Including the High Court, because believe it or not, the High Courts have not taken their rightful oath, as neither has the Prime Minister, as neither has any member of Parliament for the last 30 years have they taken the right constitutional oath. And we have the evidence of that. And you'll see it on the website. Our actions here, when successful, will enable millions of people throughout the Commonwealth to set in motion the process that will free them from the clutches of the global corporates also. Now, my time here is nearly finished. And I know a lot of you have travelled a long way to hear a short speech. But before I finish, I want to say this. Every one of us here, so many of us think that, oh, it's all right for Tim, or it's all right for Darren Bergwith, or it's all right for Jackie. They can stand up and talk, and they can do this, and they can do that. Let me tell you this. It is not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you are not. You were made in the image of God. Who are you to play small? Who are you to hide? Let your light shine. Bring that on. Right? You are the people that will start the salvation of this country if we do it right. And if we get bowled over in the process, it matters not, because we will be closer than where we were when we started. And here's the thing. Every time you get knocked down, make sure you fall flat on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. All right? Let me finish with this. I'll leave you with 3 quotes. Character cannot be developed in the ease and quiet. Only through experience and trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, and ambition inspired, and success achieved. Helen Keller. Courage is rightly esteemed as the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all other qualities. For without courage we are doomed. And we stand in this place where courage is honoured, where 100,000 men and women gave all they had. How dare we shrink? How dare we walk away feeling we have no right, we have no capacity? How dare we do that from the comfort of our home, from the comfort of our nice car? How dare you? You do not have the right to shrink away from what is facing us as a country. You have the right to stand up. You have the right to go to battle in the right way, not with guns and sticks and stones and bats. They took this country from us with the stroke of a pen. We can take it back with the stroke of a pen. And the last quote I'll give you is this. Of course he did. It is ours. It is ours. And I'll leave you with this. The best way out of this mess is through. When you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going. The key here is through. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is the beginning. We are just in the process. You are the seed sowers. You are the creators of what could be the greatest country on God's green earth. It is called Australia, and you are all Commonwealth nationals. You are not Australian citizens. You do not belong to the corporation. Thank you so much. I'll look forward to seeing you all around the traps as we go along. I'll be out there doing stuff, just as you will be. Thank you very much.